Welcome in. It is day 75, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. Today, we're going to be going over a game that's a little bit outside of my normal themes. I haven't done this theme since, I think, video 7. We're getting into a little bit of the pirate theme today. Today, we're going to be talking about the first edition of Libertalia. Libertalia is a really interesting game. So it's done over a 3-round system, and the concept is you each have a 30-card deck. All these are numbered 1 through 30. Somebody at the table will be chosen. They're going to shuffle their deck and choose 9 cards. Everybody else now picks the same 9 cards. You're then going to have the option every turn to reveal a card and play it onto your ships. Now, the concept of it is you all are going to pick a card in secret. Below, on the ship, depending on number of players, so let's assume it max of 6, you'll have 6 random tokens assigned and shown. Some of these tokens are gems of different value point amounts. Some of these tokens are treasure maps that by themselves might be worth nothing, but if you get 3 of them, now they're worth like 12 points. Some of these are sabers, which means that if you were to select that, then you can discard a card from the ship if it's still there of somebody who sits directly to your left or right. The Spanish officers, which means you lose your person right away. They've basically been thrown overboard. Or the curses, which are negative points. So everybody picks the card they want to use for the round. They place it face down. When everybody's is face down, you flip the cards up and then you put them out. The order is you go from left to right, from lowest to highest based on the top number. Now, because everybody picks the same 9 cards, of course, if there's 6 people playing, the odds of 6 people having at least one of the same card put out is high. There is a lower number called the silver number below, and every single one of these 6 decks has a different from 1 to 6 number there. So if 2 people put out a 9 and one person has a 1 below and the other one has a 3 below, the 1 goes first. From left to right, you resolve your day actions. Essentially, most of these cards have a day action, and you'll start to resolve these one by one from left to right. Once you've done all those, going from right to left, you now get to select your token. So you're going to pick one of the tokens off of the options below. Unless a card says otherwise, you have to take a token. And then once you get to the left, now you're going to start again. Now you're going to be resolving your nighttime actions, and you're going to then, after that, at the end of a round, be resolving your anchor actions. You do this, you finish up the round, and then based on all of the money that you've gathered and the VP you have from all your tokens, you score. You move on your scoring track, and then when you're done with that, everything gets returned except your cards. And then, at the end of that round, you look at your cards and you go, okay, we have 3 left. You should have 3 because it's 6 different turns in the round. So now we're going to have somebody shuffle again from the other cards and draw 6 new cards. And now everybody grabs those 6 cards and you do it all again. And then you again do it and you'll draw another 6. So at the end of the game, you'll end up having touched, with the exception of a particular card causing a rule exception, you should have touched 21 out of your 30 cards. So game will be a little different every time. You never know what combos you're going to get of cards. You never know what cards somebody might hold on to and try to drag all the way to the 3rd round from the 1st, and now nobody has it and they don't even remember it was out there. There's a lot of options here. It's a really interesting game. So again, based on this edition, let's jump in and talk about my 7 categories. Category 1, the art. I think the art's really nice. I got this game after somebody else introduced me to it. I really enjoyed playing it with them. I think that the box sells the concept. I do agree the newer edition has a much more beautiful box. But the inside art, the art of the board, of the map that you're scoring on, of your individual ships, of your car, I love it. I think it really sells that dark tone of pirates. I mean, it's, pirates aren't goofy. They're supposed to be this swashbuckling, fighting, people are going to die type setup. I really like that. I think the art's great for this game. It's a thumbs up for me. Your components. Well, your components are only a few things. You've got your cards, and I think they're all very well done. I don't think that they cheaped out. I've had this game for close to a decade, and I feel like The cards haven't worn, they've been torn. I haven't played this a load, but I've played it enough. So I think that that's good. You have your cardboard pieces for your money. You have it for all of the tokens for when you draw each round. For your tokens that go onto your scoring track, for your tokens to represent your different faction you're part of. They're all really good. Cardboard tokens, for the most part, are always a good piece of equipment for a game. I think it all really works for me. Big thumbs up on the components. Your price. So this game comes in at around that $50 range. You're not going to find this, even the second edition, very often in a Target or in a Barnes & Noble. I can't recall seeing them there. I think there may have been the second edition at some Barnes & Nobles, but if it was very little. It wasn't like it was packed on the shelves. There probably was a copy or two. And to be honest, I think I might have seen it once or twice, and I don't remember seeing it since whenever I've gone in. Definitely, though, the original edition was not there. And I think that for what you're getting in the box, 50's okay. There's a game here, and it's fun. $50 to me is a little steep for this game, but not impossible. It's up to, for one, does the theme hit for you? Two, do you like the way the game plays? You know, I've played this game with house rules and shifted things up where, like, we were able to use different cards. It's not that I've ever seen in the rule book to say, oh, I draw 9 and you draw 9 different ones. But we've tried it just to see how it works, and it's been interesting. So at least it gives you the option. If you want to get creative, you can kind of change it up a bit. But in my opinion, if you stick to the basic game, I think there's just enough here to justify 50. I just wish it was more like 40. Overall, though, I can't really argue with it. I think the game is acceptable for that price, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Your difficulty. This is an interesting game when it comes to difficulty. I guess if you really break it down, the difficulty comes to math and memory. Now, you could argue this for many games, but the reason I say it for this game is the math is, yes, of course, victory points. Well, count up. What do you have? But there's a lot of things you're getting for those tokens below that you're trying to keep track of. Like, okay, wait a minute. Now I got multiple of my maps here. So if I can get 3, it's 12. But if I only have 2, it's wasted. Oh, I've got this guy who gives points if I have Spanish officers. I need to get more of those Spanish officers. But I got to be careful. It feels like it's a lot of like trying to do the math out to figure that out. On top of that, it's the memory. You have to be able to remember, okay, they played what cards. Because once a round is over, your deck basically flips. People can't go checking and seeing. So you have to remember what everybody played. And there might be a really powerful card that 4 of you played it in the first round, and only 1 of you played it in the second round. And nobody realizes as a person who still has it in the third round. And they've just been sitting there the whole game, and now they're going to dominate you because this powerful guy has nobody competing. There are some cards that say it's really strong, but if 2 of the same are out there, it does nothing. Well, if you can dodge the other 5 people and have a whole round, 6 turns, you could win the game with that 1 card being played if it can't be stopped. So I think that memory and math come into this game and do make it a little difficult. But overall, do I think it's really that difficult of a game? No. I don't think the rules are hard to understand. I don't think there's a lot of confusion during a game. I don't feel like you're asking, are you allowed to do that during a game? I gotta give it the thumbs up. Replayability. Interesting one again. I used to really, really like this game. But even when I did, it wasn't getting chosen more than maybe once a month. Now, you may say once a month's a pretty big number for you, but this was back in my old game group. We met on the weekends, we played much longer days, and we usually averaged 3 games minimum in a night because we would be together for a good 8 to 10 hours. Compared to my new game group is on a Monday night, and we usually play 3 hours, 4 if it's a really long game, and we play 1 game. So back in the day, I had a lot more option to get a game to a table on a regular basis. Once I shifted to this new group, this game has really fallen out for me. I don't know if we've ever played it. My wife likes the game, but we've even only played it at the house maybe 2 times in the last 3-4 years. So for me, this game is fun, but I think it's more aimed for around Halloween. Yes, it's not a Halloween scary game, but it's a thematic pirate game, which might be more of a hit for people when it's that time of year where people are dressing up. So for me, I feel like the replayability has to be a thumbs down. I think this game doesn't hold on strong enough for the long term. Your keys to victory. Well, we've said it already. The keys to victory really come down to scoring enough victory points, which comes down to memory and math. So what are your keys? You know what everybody else can do. You all have the same cards. So if you can keep a good memory on everything, you're going to be able to follow this and say, okay, I know they have this ability to do this. It also means you can track and figure out, all right, based on what I've seen from everybody so far, I don't have a lot of counters to this particular type of card right now. I might be able to put it out there and really be able to dominate. Or at least use it as I'm going to hold off because this person hasn't cashed in their big card yet and I can counter them. I think there are a lot of keys to victory. It's just a tough one because everybody has to go after the same ones. So I don't feel like there's a losing option because I have the same option that you have. We literally have the same setup. But what I do think is that this game takes the options. You don't know what that random is going to be at first, and you have to really strategize for that round of your 9 cards and what 6 to use, and adjust as you go as other people play their cards and counter you. But it's really, this game just squeezes you in and says, here's your keys to victory, here's what you actually have available, here's what everybody else has done, fight. It's an interesting way to do it, and I do give it a thumbs up for that, because it's unique. And that jumps into unique. Is this game unique? Yes, it is. I don't know of another game that has this setup of everybody has the same deck, we're all going to draw the same cards, and then we're going to do this every round and add the same cards in, and we're all fighting based on trying to remember. I feel like it's taken aspects of a lot of games, but this one's really done it in a way I haven't really seen replicated. I appreciate what they did because most of the time when you think about cards in a board game, you think about a deck builder or a deck construction type game, or a drafting game. But this isn't any of those. You're not constructing a deck. You're not building a deck. You're not drafting a deck. You have a deck and you're randomly selecting the cards. I guess the only thing that even at all could compare to it maybe would be a bit Oriflame, but Oriflame doesn't say you do it and we all get the same cards. Everybody gets a random 7, so we don't really know. And you have no idea what the other players really have. This game does it on a different level, and I think it's a very unique game, so thumbs up. Overall, what do I think of this game? I like the game. I do. I'm happy it's in my collection. I've looked at the second edition. Personally, the art doesn't grab me, but I do want to figure out if it changes anything with the cards, the abilities. Did they add anything? Is there new rules to it? I'd like to know that. But with that being said, I really like this game. I think that it's one that's worth playing, but I do not think you need to go out of your way to try and play it. I don't feel like this is a game that if you don't play it ever, you're going to be like, oh, wow, I missed out. It's great. It's a great game, but it doesn't have to be played. It's not like a Clank for me or an Azul where I'm like, oh, if you haven't played, you need to play. This one's one where I'll be like, oh, you haven't played? Well, why don't we try it? But if you're not interested, I'm like, okay, not a big deal to me. I don't think most people should buy it. My personal opinion is if somebody has it in your group or you know anybody who's owned it or you have a local library who has it in stock or a game store that you can rent it from or just go play for free there, that's better. Because for me, $50, even if it was down to $40, which I think is the better price for this, I just don't want to spend that money and take up a space on my particular shelving for this game. It just, to me, doesn't hold up in the long term. It does hit immediately at the beginning, but it slowly comes down and then it just drops. And that's unfortunate. I want to say I've owned this game for close to 10 years. And in those 10 years, it started off hot. And after about 2 years, it got kind of simmered. And after another 2 years, it kind of just disappeared. And then it got picked up a little bit because the wife saw it and wanted to try it and then fell off again. It just did. To me, it's not one that you need to own. Well, that's just my opinion. I come up with what I can. I look at everything. I try to think of what I would do, what I would play, what I would suggest. But that can only be my opinion. It's up to you guys to go out there, find your own games, and make your own opinions about those, and hopefully figure out if the game hits for you. Well, Today has been day 75. We've been talking about Libertalia, and you've been speaking to the Meeples champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding in an Amazon link, so if you are interested in this game, you can go pick it up for yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.